What's going on, my fellow A-Plusers? Welcome back once again to a brand new episode of A-Plus Morphinominal, your stop for your Power Rangers, Super Sentai, and Kamen Rider review and news right here on our YouTube page, A-Plus Morphinominal. As always, ladies and gentlemen, it is I, your more phenomenal host, Adam Perez, back at it once again as we're set to go ahead and get into some Mashin Sentai Kiramager episode number 26. So happy Toku Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen. I certainly hope everybody's morning's going well so far. Hopefully your weekend has kicked off well. Hopefully, like me, you got the opportunity to watch Kiramager this past Monday to help get over any case of the Mondays that we certainly might have had. And I got to admit, guys, episode number 26 of Kiramager, pretty impressive, man. Pretty impressive. I'm really continuing to love just the storyline. You can clearly tell that things are getting a little bit more serious for our Kiramagers, just seeing some of the predicaments that they're certainly finding themselves in. And for me, Yodanna continues to certainly impress me, guys. And we'll definitely talk tons more about her here in this particular week's episode. But I hope everybody enjoyed their weekend. Thank you for everybody also that wind up coming out this past weekend. You guys know we love to do a live show of A-Plus More Phenomenal every Saturday, noon Central Time on Saturday. We usually like to try and do those. We probably will not be having an episode this weekend, though, as far as a live episode goes. If anything, I'll make sure that the Beast Morphers review is certainly set and ready for you guys to go on Saturday. But as far as a live showing, may not actually have a live episode of A-Plus More Phenomenal for you guys this weekend. If anything, we will be back the following weekend, though. Certainly no worries there. Just want to go ahead and take care of some things. You know, the one thing that I've certainly have come to find out as our channel certainly continues to grow, and just being on YouTube in general, is if you're a content creator, you know, a lot of your time certainly gets spent creating content for your YouTube channel and things like that. So I always find it important that I have to remember to certainly give myself certain days off and time off to make sure I'm personally not burning out myself personally, and also to live my life as well. You know what I mean? So that's exactly what this weekend is certainly going to be for myself, so I can go ahead and continue to keep myself motivated, get some energy back, and of course, you know, we'll certainly be back the following week with all our live episodes as always. So definitely do not worry about that, guys. But regardless, we're here to go ahead and talk some Kiramager, and we do have a Kamen Rider Saber review for you guys later this afternoon coming from Stuart as well. And Stuart actually may join me for my Beast Morphers review this week, so certainly look out for that, ladies and gentlemen. But with that out of the way, Toku Tuesday. I might go get some tacos also, but let's go ahead and dive into some tokusatsu reviews here. And first up, guys, Kiramager episode number 26. I was highly anticipating this episode after the introduction of Yodanna last week. Really impressed me. She certainly left a lasting impression, to the point to where now I feel as though our Kiramagers are really finding themselves in situations they certainly haven't before, especially defeat. Defeat does not look good on our Kiramagers at all, and you can really see how it's kind of gotten to the core of the team, if you will. Really rattled our team here this week. But I truly love the way that this episode just sort of starts off. We're immediately jump back into the action where we left our Kiramagers off in last week's episode, really struggling against these zombie muddies that Yodanna has pretty much whipped into shape, if you will. But just the immediate sort of intro to this episode really sort of sets the tone for just the amazing action and how fast-paced this episode certainly was. Also, some just really great direction in general for some of the great shots that we were able to go ahead and get in here. From just seeing like the camera work following down the corridor as we finally see our Kiramagers for the first time, just running through the hallway, fighting the muddies. I just loved all the movement from the camera, some of the kinetic action as well. It just really made it feel very fast-paced, and I immediately knew I was in store for a pretty good episode, to say the least, and they definitely did not fail me there at all. The one thing that I'm continuing to love about Yodanna And it's even highlighted here in this beginning aspect, just to see that beginning rivalry, if you will, or feud between her and Tametomo. I mean, we literally just saw in episode 25 how Tametomo was just floored with this princess's beauty, if you will, or this cutie princess, I think is how they referred to her. He was floored, fallen in love, just smitten over her. And once he winds up finding out just her connections to Jotunheim, it quickly just completely dissolves. It's extremely difficult for Tametomo to kind of grasp, if you will. So to kind of see that, I don't want to say that they're playing around with each other here, but there's definitely some friction now between Tametomo and Yodanna, and I'm here for it. I truly am. The idea that Yodanna makes a reference to the idea of smiling, right? Talking about maybe this is one of those moments where I smile, and I love that it kind of grabs Tametomo's attention, because it does harken back to what we just saw in the previous episode, that she really is kind of studying everybody, right? Like, she kind of came into this world, if you will, very lack of emotions, right? Not sure how to certainly express herself, but seeing how the boys in episode 25 were certainly doing it, I love the fact that now we're seeing what Yodanna is certainly learning. Like, maybe this is the part where I'm supposed to smile, similar to you guys, right? And it winds up immediately catching Tametomo's attention. And she does the same thing later on in the episode when she actually makes herself smile. And she does the crazy neck turn. Like, there's something crazy and just off the wall about Yodanna that I absolutely love. Like, she's got this sort of demented, sort of like masochistic, like a personality about her, if you will. The idea that, like, dishing out pain almost like brings her pleasure. Like, the idea of being awkward and dishing out punishment and pain and then humiliation and embarrassment. Like, there's something very like masochistic about that, if you will, that she's really getting pleasure out of doing that. I mean, the girl literally has like a whip that she carries around with her, and when she needs not only her muddies but her Marsk beasts also to kind of whip into shape, she's literally whipping them. Like, there's something about the way that Yodanna is presented that I'm absolutely loving. Like, there's just definitely a creep factor that I love. The lack of expression, the weird sort of tilting of her head and her head movements, that they, like the actress that's playing her is just doing an incredible job, because I don't want to, none of that's forced. Like, that's just all part of who her being her character, you know what I mean? And so I just love all those little subtleties and those subtle movements, even the tongue action. Like, I know some people, it probably freaks them out, but I love it. I think it adds to the character, just the mystery, the dementedness, the awkwardness, the creepiness about her. I'm here for Yodanna. I truly am. I think she's brilliant, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what else she's going to bring here. But I just thought the smiling reference, the laughing reference also was just really great, just kind of highlighting what we saw in episode 25, that she's literally sitting back, studying how people are acting, and then making her decisions based off of that. So I thought that was pretty cool. We do see her wind up creating brand new copies of the bomb Marsk in order to kind of push her plan forward a little bit quicker also. And she winds up wiping the floors with our Kiramagers. It's one of those things where we never really get the opportunity to see our Kiramagers put down before in that way. But here we do. They really have no answer for her. And I love the fact that Tametomo kind of throws out the challenge that, hey, we're going to make a comeback. And I think, again, also that little moment like that goes to showcase just how much Tametomo truly trusts in Juro, how much he truly trusts in his leader. And he winds up even calling him out as his leader here in this episode. So halfway through the season, it is pretty incredible to see Tametomo's growth and accepting of Juro as the leader and the respect that he certainly has earned. So I did love that here in this episode. But yeah, our Kiramagers down and out. First time that our team has really had to deal with the defeat kind of on this level. We talked about how now they have a much more formidable foe in front of them, and how and really how they're going to handle something like that. and how it's really going to kind of trigger them forward, if you will, right? Like the idea of like seeing somebody like Cena almost hesitant to kind of go back into battle, right? Like even though they're all sulking and they're down on themselves, you know, we see somebody like Shiguru who kind of musters up the energy and is like, all right, you know, they're still out there. We got to do some stuff. But even seeing somebody like Cena and Seiyo, who's usually the one to lift up people's spirits, both being very hesitant, now kind of doubting themselves, they really got the floor wiped with them, and they really don't know how to react until we wind up getting Takamichi, who winds up coming back, finally defeating the Mon Stone and getting back the Grantor Stone, which I'm thankful that he got that Grantor Stone back, because without that Grantor Stone, who knows where our Kiramagers would certainly be at right now. But based off of them getting the Grantor Stone back, realizing now what the Grantor Stone does in regards to giving you a power-up, this is what we're waiting for, right? This is exactly what everybody was waiting for. Now there's hope. Now everybody's ready to go back out there. But unfortunately, if you recall what happened to the Mon Stone, too much energy certainly can be a bad thing. Overloading, its body going out of commission. That's the worry of the Kiramagers now, or at least one of the big worries for somebody like, say, a Juru. And so again, while we have our characters who are beaten, right, have been embarrassed, if you will, now they have this option, and now we see our Kiramagers just kind of squabbling amongst each other, trying to figure out, is the risk even worth it? Clearly the Kiramagers think so, but somebody like Juro is completely against it. Again, it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me that somebody like Juro wanted to kind of halt that idea of a power up, right? I mean, he's always been that type of person to put people in the position to certainly succeed, and he takes a lot of that pressure on himself also. So I can definitely see why he would want to find other alternatives, if you will. And one of the things that he winds up coming up with and creating for us this week is, in fact, the Kiraful Go Arrow, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that was the name of it. I put the Kiraful Bow, but I'm pretty sure it's the Kiraful Go Arrow also. You know, the idea and the inspiration for this, I thought was pretty interesting. The fact that we see Juro run back to the shrine that we saw in last week. I thought it was cool to get the opportunity to see the priestman again. And he answered the question that I had last week about, I wonder if the mention of the alien that the priestman met, if that was going to come up, or if we were ever going to find out. And we did. And again, I say it every week, guys, I love a great flashback. And we wind up getting our flashback here that the priest was actually speaking to King Orden himself, which I thought was pretty brilliant, honestly. The idea that King Orden recognized that this particular location held that particular energy for a particular power up. We see him training with the priest men also, and really learning a valuable lesson, if you will, during his training to not exceed his limits. Let me see if I actually put down, limits don't exist to be broken, is what King Orden came up with. But I always thought it was the other way around, right? Like I always thought it was limits were made to be broken, right? Like the idea of human endurance, right? How far can you push yourself? If you feel like you're at your peak or at your limit, you push through it, right? And continue to get better. That's how I've always known it. But now King Orden's telling me limits don't exist to be broken. When you've hit your limit, stop. Don't do anything else. Stop. That's his lesson. I don't necessarily agree with it, because at the end of the day, while yes, we did get ourselves a great power up in Kirame, in the Kiraful Go Arrow, the fact that it only gives me 100 seconds of a power up, I'm like, bland, like not what I was expecting at all. You know, not like they didn't even give us 90 seconds. They at least gave us 100 seconds. So for that, I'll certainly be thankful. But not even like a minute, not even 2 minutes. Well, technically, that would be over a minute, duh, Adam. But but like not even a full 2 minutes. Can a brother get maybe 5 minutes? That would be fantastic if I get something like that. Listen, the jury is still out for me when it comes to this new power up of theirs. Wasn't really that impressed with the costume power up design. I did think that the henshin sequence and the music accompanying it looked fantastic, to be honest with you. So that certainly had it going for it. But I didn't see them really become that more powerful, right? I mean, with the exception of just having this bow and arrow now that they use to eliminate some of the copies of the bomb mask that Yodanna wind up creating. Outside of that, I didn't see any like fighting techniques that look different. I do like the idea though that everybody can certainly use the bow, that it's not just accompanied to one person. Everybody can use the power up. So that is a pretty neat feature. But again, 100 seconds, is the ability really only in its power bow, if you will? I'm kind of hoping that when you're not holding the bow, that we can clearly see that it's giving you a powerful advantage over your adversaries, certainly going forward. So for me, first impression on the Kiraful Go Arrow power up, it is what it is. We'll see what it looks like. But as far as like the henshin, the music, that particular ability, it's cool, but I was really expecting to kind of see more of what it could do. But maybe we'll wind up getting more of it. I mean, I'm kind of under the impression that this might be like a 3-part story, or now that maybe there's not even necessarily a 3-part arc that they're doing. Maybe it's like all these episodes seemingly are that much more important now that we're just going to continue to push forward and just see how things kind of develop, you know what I mean? So because we are in the middle half of the episode in the season, we'll see exactly how much filler we get compared to important episodes. But so far, I've really been loving what we've gotten so far. And if there is anything that I took away from this episode, after we wind up seeing Yodanna leave because the Kiraful Go Arrow was just too powerful for her bomb masks, Garza and Yodanna, the team up of the century, one that I'm looking forward to. And I said, and if you ask me, I wouldn't be surprised if Tarantula doesn't make it out of this series, guys. I would not be surprised. The fact of how Yodanna already kind of looked down on Tarantula's bomb mask this week and last week also, right? Like Yodanna clearly tells the bomb mask, hey, we don't got to worry about style points here, right? Like let's just do the deed. Let's get the job done in any way that we certainly can. You don't got to worry about no damn strikes. Just go and blow things up, cause some dark energy, right? We don't need all these crazy style points and things like that. So Yodanna literally whips the style points out of the bomb mask this week. And I also think the fact that now that Garza has realized just how connected Yodanna is to Emperor Yodan, now he's probably thinking to himself, Tarantula, at this point, like, you're expendable, like, right? Like, you're not even the direct link to Emperor Yodan at this point. Like, if I got to get to Emperor Yodan, I clearly have to go to this person in Yodanna to certainly get answers if she's going to be like his main servant, if you will, right-hand woman. So I almost think that Garza's looking at Tarantula now as useless. Like, what do I need you for? I literally just teamed up with Yodanna. Your ideas are pretty stupid anyway, Tarantula. Let me go ahead and bring somebody else in here. So I'm really looking forward to this. And I think for me at least, again, that's just me assuming, I don't think Tarantula makes it out of this particular series. I feel like Garza is an opportunist and is really going to take advantage of the situation. I mean, a masochist in Yodanna, and then just this jealousy, envy-filled, royal family member in Garza. Yeah, I think they're gonna make some. I think they're gonna make some things happen. But yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. I thought it was pretty stellar. The Tametomo Yodanna sort of feud that we have going on. The one thing that I really enjoy when I watch Super Sentai is I'm a big fan of, like, whenever one of our Rangers, if you will, have rivalries or monsters or generals that they have personal storylines with, or an overarching storyline. Like, usually when Red gets involved with a villain, I'm usually there for it. I love when Red has like a rivalry with one of the main villains, like Zamigo and Kairi from Lupin Ranger versus Pat Ranger. I was a big sucker for that also. But it seems as though this is Yodanna and Tametomo definitely have a bone to pick with one another, certainly going forward. And I'm here for their storyline. Like, I even love just seeing Juru like even apologize to Tametomo at the end, like, hey, I'm sorry, the person that you fell in love with turned out to be a crazy ass bee. Like, I'm sorry that she loves pain, man, and dishing out embarrassment, bro. Like, I'm sorry that that happened to you. Not all women are like that, Tametomo, right? So don't give up on love yet. And I just love his reaction of like, can we just forget about this? Let me just stuff my face in sorrow with this delicious cake that I'm experiencing. Like, I absolutely love just the reactions here. But I think they're onto something here with Yodanna. Again, you know, the one thing I talked about last week was the importance of having a villain that can give you expressions, that's human, right? That can express themselves, do these type of movements, things that aren't hidden behind masks. And I think it just adds such a great layer to the villain because things can get personal because you can see their reactions and how they're expressing themselves, and that type of stuff, for me at least, is just hella fun, to be honest with you. But overall, guys, I thought this was a really stellar episode here this week. Again, if there was anything that was a little bit of a disappointment for me, it was probably honestly the Kiraful Go Arrow. But again, it's just really its power set, and I don't think I've seen enough of it to truly appreciate it yet. So the jury's still out for me, and we'll see what happens as they utilize it going a little bit forward. But you know, the opportunity now to see our Kiramagers taken down to their lowest, fighting amongst each other, but still managing to have faith in each other, encourage each other, and still find an answer to overcome their obstacles. I think this was a really great lesson for the Kiramagers to find themselves in, especially at their lowest. And so I appreciate the storytelling, man. I appreciate the writing once again here this week. Let's see here. I might have a. Let me just double check my email here for APlus Morphinominal. Again, guys, if you guys have any questions that you want to go ahead and send our way, we usually have a live viewer question section at the end of our APlus Morphinominal videos. So if you have any particular questions, whether it be in regards to Toku Tuesdays, some of the shows that we watch, or if you just have a general question from a news article or a rumor that you wind up hearing for Power Rangers, Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, send those questions and topics our ways, guys, so that over the weekend we definitely will have stuff to certainly talk about, and your answering questions and topics will certainly be answered live on air. So definitely go ahead and submit those, because I believe L'Oreal, most notably known as Blossom on our YouTube channel, she did go ahead and submit a Toku Tuesday question and comments in regards to episode number 26. So a couple of her questions. She says, it sure looked like the Rangers were in over their head while fighting that creepy Yodanna girl. Am I right? Yeah, they definitely did. Like, Yodanna certainly had their number. The fact that they were already just getting overwhelmed by something like zombie muddies, I think is pretty telling of how powerful they certainly were. But I thought it was also telling, getting an opportunity to see that Yodanna gave them that power, but it didn't last very long, right? So clearly there is a time limit before these muddies, and the power is just too much for them. And I think they utilize what they learned in that battle from this power up of theirs, of realizing like our bodies can't take that type of energy, so we need a power up. But I'm glad that they wind up getting the power up. Give all the props to Juro and his great just inspiration, and getting his inspiration from King Orden and the Priestmen once again this week. But yeah, it was pretty crazy just to see how overpowered the Kiramagers were. And you also say, wasn't it unusual when their new power up only lasted 100 seconds? Yeah, that's another thing that gets me. It's like, I get the idea of not wanting to push your limits, but is your limits really only 100 seconds, guys? Like, I feel like you probably could have pushed it to at least maybe a full 2 minutes, 5 minutes, maybe tops. The choice of 100 seconds felt like an unusual amount of time to certainly give them for a power up. Like, if we're going to push ourselves to the limit, Juro, we got to push it a little bit harder than that. I'm not the biggest fan of King Orden's advice. Limits aren't meant to be broken. What are you talking about? The advice on life is to push past your limits. Come on, King Orden. Let's go, man. Let's go. Let's see here. And you got a couple comments. Though it lasted 100 seconds, the new Phoenix armor rocked. I love that they used my favorite mythical bird. Listen, I'm glad that you really enjoyed the power up, Blossom. I really am. You know, for me, again, I'm with you in the sense that the Phoenix is one of my favorite mythical birds. It's one of my favorite mythical creatures in general. Like, there's just something about that concept that I've always been a big fan of. So while we definitely share that in common in regards to that being our favorite mythical bird and creature, I personally just was not a fan of it. I'm really glad that you did, Blossom, for sure. But for me, I just wasn't the biggest fan of it. But again, I'm going to give it a chance. I want to see what else it could do. And you also say it was kind of mean that Tametomo pushed Juro after he reassured him that he'd find a girl perfect for him. Though I can't exactly blame him for wanting to forget what had happened. Still sweet of Juro to make him feel better anyway, especially since Tametomo's heart got crushed like a watermelon under an elephant's foot. Yeah, it definitely got crushed. That's a perfect analogy, to be honest with you. But yeah, leave it up to Juro to be that leader, right, and always try to comfort everybody for sure. Let's see here. He says when it was Juro's turn to use the arrow, his attack rocked. He probably had one of the cooler. His attack was pretty cool, and for me, I had a blast watching Cena utilize the arrow. The fact that she kept missing, and she's like, but it doesn't matter, and she kept, because she's like unlimited power, right? Like unlimited arrow, so she just kept plugging away until she eventually hit him. I thought that was pretty cool too. But yeah, Juro's was pretty cool. So he says a fired up phoenix that shoots the enemy down, so rad. When I saw that, I thought, now that's awesomeness coming from my sweet Babu. Yeah, I know you love yourself some Juro. I was almost hoping that he would like shoot it and then you would just see the phoenix just fly far, far, far in the distance like a long shot and then land, and all of a sudden it's just like a little explosion in the distance or something because the Mars beast exploded. I would have loved to have seen something like that, but the technique was pretty cool. Blossom, I definitely will give you that. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, that's certainly going to go ahead and be it for us today for our Kiramager review in episode number 26. We clearly will be back next weekend, ladies and gentlemen, so certainly do not worry about that for another episode review. Oh, and quick shout out to the Tametomo music video that we wind up getting here. And you guys had mentioned the idea that these characters were going to sort of get their own solo theme songs, if you will. You know, I wasn't the biggest fan of Juro's last week. Tametomo, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Listened to it a couple more times after the episode went off. A really big fan of that. So now I find myself even more curious about the other characters' themes. I'm definitely going to be paying very close attention to Cena's along with Shiguru also. I really want to see what they wind up. Especially, I think for me, specifically Shiguru, I want to see how cool they make it. Considering how cool of a character he's supposed to play, I'm really hoping for something special from Shiguru, but we'll certainly see. But I definitely want to give that a quick shout out. But other than that, guys, that's gonna do it. So thank you very much, guys, for certainly joining us here once again. Again, we've got a Kamen Rider Saber review coming for you guys. And again, if we don't have a live episode of APlus Morphinominal this weekend, you definitely at least will get a Beast Morphers review. So certainly go ahead and look forward to that. So with that done, ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it for me here today. In the meantime, do me a big favor, guys. If you want to go ahead and subscribe, if you haven't done so yet, what are you waiting for, man? Hit that subscribe button along with that bell notification so that when we do drop a brand new video, you will certainly go ahead and be notified. Also, if you want to follow us on social media, you can do so right here at APlus Opinions. You can find us especially at our hub on Facebook, over on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. And until next time, guys, do me a big favor. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And of course, keep it A+. I'll talk to you guys later. Kirame change!